mode. Yeah, you know how we do it for the people. The people said that I was sharp on TV at the Grammys. Though they tried to India, I read me. Got backstage and I bumped into Stevie. He said no matter what, the people gon' see me. Can't leave rap alone, the streets need me. Hunger in their eyes.
All right, well, the Young Turks, we got a ridiculous week ahead for you guys, including an excellent show today. Jesse Lee Peterson is going to be in studio in the next hour. He is a conservative black activist, a big fan. Sean Hannity's a big fan of his, is on his board. He has, in the past, called blacks lazy and immoral, and they're welfare pampered. Not only has he done that in the past, I talked to him last week on his show. He said the same exact thing. Likely he'll say the same exact thing today on this show. And so that should make for a very interesting conversation. All right, now, we have a lot of news from over the weekend to get to. It's almost hard to know where to start. And, I hope we have time for another pastor who's also black and conservative and even more controversial than Jesse Lee Peterson. Some unreal video from that. All right, now, but first, let's start with the two things that I think are biggest and most interesting and getting the most news right off the bat, okay? The first is healthcare, right, as far as big news stories is concerned. So they passed healthcare, and Obama said, hey, look, we were going to get this done for you, and we fought hard, and we did it. In fact, crowd chanting, yes, we can, yes, we can. He told them, yes, we did. And it's showing in his poll results. His overall approval rating up 5 points from 46 to 51. And his approval rating in how he handled healthcare also up 5 points. So he's up across the board and feeling good about it. And in fact, there are news stories out now about how this was Obama's greatest week. And it was the week that turned around his presidency. So why? Of course, you had the healthcare legislation passing. That's number one. Number two, you had the START negotiations that came to fruition. So we got a nuclear treaty with the Russians to reduce the number of nuclear arms that we have. And then some people also mentioned that he was tough with Netanyahu as a positive thing, although some have mentioned that as a negative thing. So what's my assessment of that? Well, look, you know how I've been on this over the last week. It's good. It's good. And I'm glad his numbers are up, and hopefully that emboldens him, and he takes stronger steps going forward. Hopefully that gives him momentum, and we can get better and better things passed and done. So I don't want to poo-poo it too much, and there is real, tangible benefits from it, okay? Because the conventional wisdom has set in, Obama's rising, get out of his way! Get out the way, yo, get out the way. And that's a good thing, no question about it. His poll numbers improving, that's a good thing. It makes him stronger and able to hopefully get us more and more reform on the issues that are coming up next, financial reform, immigration reform, etc. Now, the downside, there's no downside except my, how shall I phrase this? My skepticism. I mean, look, I said all year long, of course they're going to get health care passed. They would be grotesquely incompetent if they couldn't get it passed. The question is, what do they pass? And as we told you all of last week, what they passed was something that was nearly the equivalent of what the Republicans proposed in 1993. And more news stories about that this weekend, saying it's, again, nearly identical to the plan that Mitt Romney passed in Massachusetts. Now, there was a very good story about that. It came back around to Mitt and said, wait a minute, these plans look identical. What's going on? And why do you hate Obama's plans? Which, oh, no, there's a huge distinction. I don't know what you're talking about. No. His bill was 1,012 pages. Mine was 1,013 pages. It was just nonsense, slight differences that didn't matter much at all, in my opinion, right? And so, largely the same. They have the mandate, and then they have some of the upsides, too. So if you like Obama's bill, to be fair, you got to give credit to Mitt Romney, too, for what happened in Massachusetts. And remember, Scott Brown also voted for that. So now they say there's a distinction, like one of the distinctions that Scott Brown says is, well, it's okay if you do it on a state-by-state basis, but if there's federal issues involved, so we shouldn't have done it as a country. Totally unconvincing, right? So on the one hand, you say, hey, Republicans, you're full of crap. You these are all the things you pushed for, right? And the article was, I believe, was in the Associated Press. It was a very good article pointing out the hypocrisy there, right? But then by the end of the article, you're like, wait a minute. Why is this bill so great if it's what the Republicans pushed for all these years? I mean, it's definitely not socialism, right? And all that nonsense that they threw at Obama, and they shouldn't have been opposed to it in the first place. It was largely their proposals. Then, on the other hand, you think, well, I'm giving Obama all this credit because he passed what was in the past, the completely Republican, not completely, but largely a Republican proposal. Change we can believe in, right? So, anyway, getting back to the original point, which is, hey, look, you know what? Yeah, he got something passed, but I thought he was going to get something passed anyway, on that front. On the second front, on the START negotiations, I didn't even mention it on the show last week. Maybe that's my bad. Maybe I should have. Maybe it's a great thing, right? Is it a good thing? Absolutely. Is it, was it guaranteed? No, it wasn't guaranteed. Would Bush have screwed it up? Absolutely. Okay, would we have gotten it done if McCain was president? Maybe, maybe not. And I'm being kind to McCain there. Probably not. Because they don't... Look, Obama's done a fairly good job in a lot of parts of foreign policy. And he's used carrots and sticks pretty well there, incentives and disincentives. So I'm pretty happy with that. And give him credit for that. It's just, I'm not startled by it. It's not like he solved the mess in Iran, right? It's, you could say it's partly a mess of our own doing or our own contribution to it, our negotiation stance, et cetera, or you could blame Iran entirely, however you want to deal with it. But that's a difficult problem. Reducing the nuclear warheads with Russia when we are largely friendly with Russia and certainly not going to go to nuclear war with them, and everybody would gain from that because then we build new nukes and charge the American government more money for that. It wasn't that hard. What do I always tell you? Follow the money, right? If there's money to be made from it, it's going to get done. If there's money to be lost from it, it's not going to get done, right? Nuclear arms reduction, withdrawal, however you want to phrase it, let's go with reduction, it's not withdrawal. That generally helps people make more money because it costs money to get rid of the nuclear arms and it costs money to build new ones. So it's that cycle I've told you about before. It's a little nonsensical. Again, don't get me wrong, I'll take it, right? And so was it a good week for Obama? No question about it. And am I happy about the direction it's going in that sense? Yes, okay? But don't get too excited. These are not some things that I can't believe he got done. Of all of that news that I mentioned in the beginning, the one that I'm most excited about is that he was a little tough on Netanyahu. And look, that takes real political courage. So you might say, oh, it wasn't tough enough, and et cetera, and those are fair points. But hey, come on, we got to be reasonable here, right? Nobody thought he was going to burn Netanyahu's house down, of course, right? Or take away the funding or any of that. None of that is realistic. I wish it were realistic, but it's not, right? So Israel has thumbed their nose at American presidents before, and they will again, and largely they've gone unscathed. This time they were a little scathed. And, Obama brought in Netanyahu and yelled at him, as he likes to do. If that's effective, that's great. Probably not. But no. I don't want to even nitpick on that. Overall, political courage, the right thing to do, I think that was the most interesting development of the week and what he should be most proud of, okay? And and without the Congress supporting him. I mean, they immediately sold him out. They threw him under the bus. I mean, both the Republicans and Democrats wrapped their arms around Netanyahu. We're like, yes, please defy our president. So, nicely done if you ask me. That's the real accomplishment of the week for Obama. So, now, I kind of set this up as don't get too excited, I'm going to be proven right, if you were paying close attention. So now I'm going to tell you that part, right? So guess what happened immediately after health care bill was passed? The insurance company said, we can't deny kids with pre-existing conditions anymore? Well, that's what you say. I say we can. What do you mean? It's in the bill, right? It says that if they have a pre-existing condition, you must accept them for getting insurance. Well, the insurance company lawyers say, quite literally, no. We read the bill, and it says that we have to keep them if they already have the insurance. But it doesn't say that we must accept them if they have a pre-existing condition and they didn't have insurance in the first place. That part gets fixed for everybody, including the adults, in 2014. So, sad day for you. And now Obama and the White House and the Democrats are outraged. But what are you outraged at? I mean, what do we tell you all along? If you leave the insurance industry in charge, they're going to nickel and dime you. They're going to try to find every way to deny you coverage. Because they make more money if they charge you more and they cover you less. It's simple math. So now I'm going to give you the quote because there's another twist in here. It's William Schiffbauer, he's a lawyer whose clients include employers and insurance companies, said, quote, "The fine print differs from the larger political message. If a company sells insurance, it will have to cover pre-existing conditions for children covered by the policy. But it does not have to sell to somebody with a pre-existing condition. And the insurer could increase premiums to cover the additional cost." And that's point number 2. What did I tell you? I said they would immediately raise rates. And they would blame it on the bill. And that's exactly what this is point number 1. There's another news story out, which is point number 2, saying, well, obviously we've got to raise the rates because the health care bill that just passed, that's, and it's making us cover all these people. And the specific provision that they cited, of course, was a lie, not true at all. That provision doesn't kick in until 2014. But they say, oh, no, we have to. It's because of the Democrats and the bill that they passed. No, your premiums are going to go up. Now, what did I tell you about my concern about the bill? I mean, go ahead. You tell me what I told you. You can look at old clips. Okay, what I told you was they're going to raise your premiums and they're going to blame it on the Democrats. They're going to blame it on health care reform because you didn't fix the underlying problem. You got bandages on some of the problems, and some of them are good bandages, but the underlying problem is, as long as the insurance companies are in charge of our health care, they have a profit motive, a legal motive. They have to, by law, try to get as much money from you as possible and give out in coverage as little as possible. So, of course they're going to try to get around the system. Now, the Democrats, being the so-called idiots they are, I don't know if they're playing along or if they really are this stupid, are all shocked. Senator Rockefeller says, "The ink has not yet dried on health care reform bill, and already some deplorable health insurance companies are trying to duck away from covering children with pre-existing conditions. This is outrageous." Well, that's why I told you to give them a public option so we could go the other direction. And you said, no, we have to protect the insurance companies. Now you've all of a sudden find it outrageous. Now, I mean, look, what are you going to do with these guys? What are you going to do with them? They purposely don't fix the system, and then I don't know if they're real or they're pretending to be shocked and chagrined. Turns out the insurance companies want to make more money off you. Huh? It turns out they got lawyers, and they're going to try to get around every single rule we passed. Who could have seen that coming? Right here. I saw it coming. All right, now here's Waxman from the House side. He says the concept that insurance companies would even seek to deny children coverage exemplifies why we fought for this reform. Wrong. It exemplifies the reform you should have fought for, but you did not. Your reform tries to get them to cover children. It tries to get rid of pre-existing conditions and rescissions, etc., but it leaves them completely in charge still. And none of what the senators and the congressmen say addresses the cost issue. Even if they get the insurance companies, they pass a new law, or they win in court, because already instantly insurance companies are talking about, oh, we're going to court. Oh, we're not going to pay for this, right? We're not going to cover your kids with pre-existing conditions. If you got a kid that's sick, that's your problem, not my problem, man. You're getting in the way of my profit, right? But you didn't address the underlying problem, Waxman. You did a bandage. All right, I got one more for you. This is from the New York Times. The issues to be resolved. These are not, the children are not the only thing. Here's a new list of issues that the insurance companies have come up with. The issues to be resolved include defining the essential health benefits that must be offered by all insurers. Now, you said essential health benefits. You didn't say what was essential. Here come the lawyers to deny you more coverage. Next one. Deciding which dependents are entitled to stay on their parents' insurance. Remember how you were supposed to have your kids, they could stay until 25, 26 years old under your coverage? You're like, well, it depends. I'm going to have my lawyer go to court and fight it so you don't get that benefit. Now, if we had a government-run option, whether it's a Medicare buy-in or a public option, could they do any of this stuff? Oh, no, they couldn't. They'd just have to offer you the insurance. Funny. I wish someone had fought for that. It continues. Deciding which dependents are entitled to stay on their parents' insurance, determining who qualifies for a hardship exemption from the requirement to have insurance. Not going to count the hardship exemption either. They're going to try to find a way around that. And deciding who is eligible for a new long-term care insurance program. I'm supposed to give you long-term care, but it depends. Are you eligible or are you not eligible? So here comes this great screwing over of the American people again. Why? Because as I told you, they didn't really fix the system. Oh, there's trouble ahead. There's trouble ahead. I could be wrong, but every day that passes, you're going to see that is less and less likely that I was wrong. More and more likely that I was right. And look, don't get my smiling wrong. I'm not happy about it. It sucks. And I don't know when they're going to wake up to it. I don't know if it's going to take 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years for them to go, oh, yeah, gee willikers, these guys still want to make money. Oh, they're going to try to deny us coverage in every way possible. They're going to raise the rates. And, oh, we didn't put anything in the bill for them to stop raising the rates. I don't know how long it's going to take, but they're going to find that out. Because, look, final thing on it. Put aside the lawyers, put aside all the fighting, etc. As I told you, the Democrats themselves acknowledge there's nothing to stop them from raising the rates. What are you going to do? I don't want to say disaster's ahead, but I'll tell you what, trouble's ahead. But lucky for us, when we come back, we also have trouble ahead for Michael Steele. And that is always fun. Sex clubs? Lesbians? Fun for everybody. All right, back on the Young Turks. What is it? The Daily Caller has broken a nice little story here. The reporter is Jonathan Strong. They went and looked at the expenses for the RNC, of course, led by Michael Steele, and they found out that there are some questionable charges on there. For example, in the month of February alone, the RNC spent $17,514 on private aircraft. Apparently, Michael Steele thought about buying his own plane for the RNC. In the midst of this recession, you think it's a good idea to take contributions of the hardworking Americans that you say you're going to use for political reasons to do your party, justice and to spend it on them and use it on it to buy a jet plane? Are you mental? They don't even deny that he considered it. And they say, well, it wasn't exactly a plan. We were just considering the idea. I mean, are you surprised that Michael Steele went and had the meeting, the RNC meeting in Hawaii? And the other people at the Republican Party are pulling their hair out. They're like, we have 10% unemployment. Do the meeting in Columbus, Ohio. Do it in the middle of the country. And Michael Steele, the goofball that he is, gets out there in a Hawaiian T-shirt in L.A. when he did that. And he's like, what? We're working really hard. What do you mean? All right, now, so he spends over $17,000 on private jets. I think that's crazy. Tim Kaine, for example, at the DNC, the chairman of the DNC, is not taking private jets at all, okay? At all. Now, but to me, the much crazier part is how much he spends on limos. Same month, just 1 month, $12,691 on limos. I don't even know how you spend that kind of money on a limo in 1 month. $12,000? That's crazy, okay? I mean, at least the planes I see can rack up and they can be expensive and you're going all over the country. How the hell are you spending $12,691 on limos? But we're not even near the best part yet. So he comes out to L.A. for a trip, and it turns out that he stays at a lot of great places. Him and I guess the rest of the staff, they spent $9,099 at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Must be nice. $6,596 at the nearby Four Seasons. I mean, what are they doing? They're jumping around? They're like, well, Beverly Hills Hotel was nice. Let's try the Four Seasons. Okay. So this is a lot of money being spent on top of the line hotels. Of course, their excuse for everything is, no, you don't understand. The donors are rich, and we have to be in rich surroundings. Otherwise, they'll be uncomfortable. We can't raise the money at a Holiday Inn. Okay. We're still on at the best part. You ready? They spent $1,946.25 at Voyeur. What's Voyeur? Well, that's a club in West Hollywood that has topless women dancers imitating lesbian sex and bondage theme. Now, wait a minute. What are Republicans doing in a West Hollywood club with a bondage theme and scantily clad, in fact, not clad at times, lesbian dancers? What part of that was necessary for fundraising? Well, I mean, look, tell us. Maybe it was. Maybe you got a couple of horn dogs in the Republican Party who are like, hey, you know what? Unless I see women in bondage, I'm not giving money. If that's the case, let us know, man. That sounds interesting. And now, of course, Michael Steele immediately, the biggest backpedal you've ever seen in your life. Because this is bad, bad news. Right? He's like, what? Voyeur? Never heard of it. Backpedal, backpedal, backpedal. It was somebody else. It was somebody else at the GOP. Okay, but Michael, you're in charge. Did you not see the bill before it came out in the press? Did you not question the guy who was there if it was not you? That, hey, listen, buddy, you can't be going to these clubs and spending this kind of money when this is not exactly in our family values. All right, look, the other part of this that people aren't talking about enough. $1,900 at a club? I'm not sure I could spend that. I don't think I could drink that much. I'm not sure I could figure out a way to spend that in one night. Unless you got one of the girls. Okay, then you start to pile it up, right? But, what'd you get, a private show? What happened? And I don't want anybody to get me wrong. I got no problems with Voyeur. Okay, I haven't been there, but after I read this, I was like, maybe we should check it out. TYT field trip. Right, down the street here, right? But I know you shouldn't be spending the contributors' money, which you say are going to go to, elections and campaigning, etc., looking at topless lesbians, especially if you're in the Republican Party. That's my sense of it. Let alone figuring out how to spend $1,900 in a bar. I'm sure, look, some people can do it. I'm sure P. Diddy can do it. I'm sure he can way outdo it. But for us regular human beings, that's a lot of money to spend in one night. That's a lot of beers to buy at one place in one night. So it goes to the idea that they don't give a rat's ass about your money. They see it as a way to live at large, man. If Michael Steele could, he'd do an MTV show. He'd be like, pimp my ride. Look at this limo, and look at I'm in the champagne room, man. And I'm not sure Chris Rock is right. Look at all these women around me. Okay? He's living it up. He's flying in on a private jet, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if you don't agree with the Republican Party, this is great news. Because now how are they going to go to donors with a straight face and say, no, give us your money. We promise we'll spend it right. Would you believe them? What's interesting is it kind of reminds me of Governor Patterson in New York. You remember we did the story on him. He's a Democrat, right? And we did the story on him, and he just, his idea of being governor was, let's go get drunk in Manhattan, right? And they'd go out and they'd hang out with the celebrities and stuff, and he'd barely come into the office, according to, all the sources the New York Times had. And his one guy that stood up for him was Bo Dietl, the I'm his sidekick. He was like, Dad, you gotta be with the people, you know what I'm saying? If you want to be in New York, you gotta go out drinking with everybody. Okay? No, that doesn't wash. Okay? And then now you got a world of trouble for Michael Steele. Because now that, of course, not only are the donors asking questions, but the other Republicans are saying, whoa, what are you doing? And then you got inside sources sniping like crazy. Here's what's happening on the rooftops. Okay, everybody's raining down anonymous quotes. And some of them aren't even anonymous anymore. Okay? They're saying, look, this guy, guy doesn't know how to run a budget. All he seems to care about is his own, high living lifestyle. I don't think that's really a term, high living lifestyle. Nonetheless, and saying, one of them said, look, I don't know, he's on his own book tour. He won't, tell us what he's spending money on. It doesn't look like he's out there raising money or campaigning across the country. We don't even really know what the hell he's doing. And he seems to be, selling his own book and trying to get his own talk show. Maybe he's going to be like Sarah Palin, and I guarantee you once he leaves the RNC, he will be. Trying to peddle his own reality show. So, now that hasn't happened yet, to be fair. So now, all of a sudden, Michael Steele's in a lot of trouble. Okay. Now, before he was covering it up by saying, what? I won in Virginia, I won in Massachusetts, and I won in New Jersey. What more do you want from me? And I raised a lot of money. And he says, I raised that money even though we're out of power. First of all, it's in a lot of ways easier to raise money when you're out of power. Because you say, oh, can you believe what the Democrats are doing? Hurry up, save the country, send in the money. Second of all, my sense is, as I said it at the time, I said, look, you got to give the guy credit. He was in charge when those things happened. But my reading of the facts on the ground were not that Michael Steele was not a pivotal player in those wins. That there were larger forces at hand. And what's happening here is that allowed him to cover up all this money that he's wasting. And it's on a large scale. The money he's burning through is not just the $17,000 on the planes, et cetera, et cetera. They're down to $9 million left, and they raised over $96 million. $9.5 million cash on hand right now, and they started with $22.8 million when Steele came in. So even though they've raised $96 million, they've lost money since Michael Steele came in. And a lot of that money did not go towards the elections. All right, look, here's what gets you in trouble if you're a Republican. Sex scandals. Okay? Now, Steele didn't sleep with anybody, etc., but you got a lesbian club, people are freaking out. It's not a lesbian club entirely, by the way. There's just hot lesbians on the ceiling. Okay? So, these are the kind of things that put you in trouble. Do I have Michael Steele on that?
Sex? What are you talking about? Is that what? Man, that's crazy. Sex? Come on. Look, man, I'm engaged, so none of that. Think about that. That'll put me in trouble.
Maybe not Michael Steele, but close. So now Michael Steele on the run. We'll see how long he lasts. All right, Young Turks.
You've housed in your covers my simpleness, threatened by my own admission. In the bags are much.
All right, back on the Young Turks. I wanted to go back to one thing that I'd mentioned in the first segment, give you some details on it. Cigna CEO told Neil Cavuto, of all people, David Cordani is his name, that healthcare premiums will continue to increase despite the new healthcare law. Shocking. And then Aetna CEO Ron Williams told Charlie Rose that his company also plans to raise rates. When Rose asked, will insurance premiums go up, Williams said, the answer is yes, and some of the things that will drive those premiums are significant additional taxes the industry will ultimately have to pay in the first year. Now, there are no taxes that the industry has to pay in the first year. Those don't start till 2014. So Williams is lying, and he's doing it to raise your rates, and then blame the reform bill. Look, I mean, I say I hate to harp on it, but I'm not sure I do. Okay, who told you they were going to do that? Okay, but I was the bad guy. I didn't love Obama enough. And over the weekend, I see, of course, for the millionth time, about some right-wingers claiming that, all Cenk ever does is agree with Obama. And the left-wingers say all I ever do is hate on Obama. Okay, I'm just trying to tell you what's reality and what's not. All right, now, a guy who's got significant issues with reality is James David Manning. Pastor Manning believes that black people are on the wrong path and that Obama's on the wrong path in America. And so is leadership for the general civil rights movement in the country, etc. But mainly, Pastor Manning is not happy with Obama, and he thinks that white people are going to get mad at him and that they are right. You want to see the real-life Uncle Ruckus? Here he is in all his glory. Clip number 6.
Either there's going to be a revolution, Patrick Henry style here in America, where red-blooded, God-fearing, Jesus-loving Americans are going to stand up and say, we're not going to take it no more. We're just not going to take it. And there's going to be riots in the streets, worse than the riots in South Central Los Angeles after they acquitted the cops that beat up Rodney King. You think that and that was black people rioting. You haven't seen anything. And I'm not advocating killing and murder and stealing and robbing. That's not what I'm advocating. I'm just telling you what people are going to do. People are sick of this. People are tired of the long-legged Mac Daddy, kicking them in the face every time he gets up, lying to them. Then you got a bunch of, suck-ups like the MSNBC News, ABC News, and all these media types, and everybody who's looking to be popular and get invited to the White House, sucking up to him all the time. It's sickening. I mean, it's downright sickening to watch this. You can get these white folk all riled up here. I'm going to tell you something. They're going to come in, the white folk get riled up, they're going to, members of the NRA going to come into the black neighborhoods. I'm telling you. The people just tired of this. White people are being pushed around, kicked to the curb, having their rights denied, being called a racist, being walked on, watching their tax dollars go to fund all kind of drug sales, prostitution, illegal immigration. I mean, y'all gonna push these white folk till they can't take it no more. I'm telling you. You fool around here with Obama? You gonna let this long-legged Mac Daddy push these white folk? They gonna come up out of Tennessee and come up out of Oklahoma, come up out of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, come up out of Oregon, and come out of Idaho, California. I'm telling y'all, you're pushing these white folk and you're pushing them. Your long-legged Mac Daddy's pushing them and pushing them and pushing them. And they're going to get, listen, you're going to push people to the point where they're not going to take it no more. These white folk are not going to take it. You're taking their tax money. You're closing down their jobs. You're shutting down their banks. You're telling them what they can and cannot do. You're giving billions of dollars to Acorn. You're taking their tax money and giving it to people to buy drugs. You're killing babies and you won't stop. You're telling lies and you're demoralizing our nation. You're destroying everything that has made this nation great. White folk getting ready to rise up. They don't want to take it no more, and I'm joining them. Oh, doggone it. I am. I mean, you just can't keep pushing folk the way Obama's pushing white folk and the way black folk are pushing white folk. You can't keep doing that. I'm telling y'all, you better find a way to either get rid of Obama or these folk are going to rise up at the sound of a bird. They're going to rise up. And who can blame them? I mean, who can blame them? To build this nation and then have it given away, just given away, just thrown away, just given away by a long-legged half-breed, usurper, illegal alien, a man who isn't even a citizen, and everybody in the Congress knows that he's not a citizen. Dick Cheney knows he's not a citizen. And yet nobody will stand up. I'm telling you, white folk are ready to riot. And they should be. They should be. This don't make no doggone sense. I'm telling y'all. Now, either y'all go talk to the long-legged Mac Daddy, tell him to resign. Tell him. And then we need to go into 40 days of prayer. We need to outpray the Muslims on Ramadan. We need to go into 40 days of prayer. But we need to get that long-legged Mac Daddy, that half-breed, that Muslim, that illegal alien, that emissary of the devil, that vice president of genocide and hell. We need to get him out of the White House. I'm telling you. Go ahead, you freak, you homosexual, you man lover, Chris Matthews, Keith Olbermann, go ahead. We'll see. We shall see. We shall see. Got the Black Panthers and all those militant groups. They're white groups forming right now. They're not going to take it no more. I don't blame them. I'm praying for their success. I hope they let me join them. I do. No, I do. Plus, he's an avowed homosexual. Fell in love with Larry Sinclair. They had a steamy love affair. Obama and Larry Sinclair had a steaming love affair. Obama and Larry Sinclair had a steamy love affair. Larry looked into the eyes of Obama, the Mac Daddy, and they put a spell on Obama, the Mac Daddy. Obama said to Larry, oh, you're just my style and my kind. Oh, you look like just what I want, my man, woman, and half whatever look to look like. Oh, yes, oh, yes, oh, yes. Obama and Larry Sinclair had a steamy love affair in the back of a limo, and then at the Holiday Inn, they had a steaming love affair. All right, my friends. All right. Okay.
Pastor Manning's album drops in the summer. Okay, I got to thank Andrew Calusi, who was one of our listeners who sent that in. Man, that was a ride, man. He took us for a ride. He started with long-legged Mac Daddy. Well, he also ended with that. He said that a number of times. But then he went to homosexual. I don't know where that came from. And then this Sinclair, that was some old, stupid, dumb rumor. I mean, even the birthers aren't even going there. Pastor Manning had to go there. And then he's a Muslim. Look, he's not even a citizen. Everybody knows it. Even Dick Cheney knows it. Well, then that must settle it. And then what was he, the vice president of genocide in hell? When did he get demoted? Okay. Man, my favorite parts, though, was, I don't blame them. I hope they take me in. I want to join them. I know, Uncle Ruckus. I know you do. Okay, maybe they'll take you into white heaven one day, where Ronald Reagan presides. Man, that guy is unreal. But, you know, I'm a little afraid because he doesn't have much publicity. I'm afraid, although we're very entertained by this, that there is, of course, a dangerous side to this, which when he says, look, they got to get rid of Obama somehow, and, you know, he's committing genocide, get people riled up, and then there's going to be riots, and he's just hoping that they take him along on those riots when the white people rise up against black people. All right, JR, analysis.
Well, this is one of the people that I really don't care. It's funny to me. Because I don't think anyone outside of him, even the people that are in his congregation, I don't know how big that is, they can't even take him seriously. I mean, if you listen you don't even have to listen with any critical ear to know that I don't know what he's trying to get, but it's not going to work. In order to be outrageous and get people riled up and get them on your side and give you money, because of course that's always the end. The bottom line is get some money out of this. It's not even going to work. Nobody can take him seriously.
I hear you, but here's a good angle he can play, and I'm surprised he hasn't played it yet, and I don't want to give too many ideas here. But how quickly would Heritage Foundation want to sign that guy up? Okay? I mean, there's a lot of conservative think tanks. They're in the business of, oh, look at my black friend. Oh, did I say that about black people? Or about, no! Pastor Manning did. And he's huge in the community. You see what I'm saying? He's not going to raise a lot of money from, you think from black folks he's going to raise money?
Right, yeah, but I mean, they have a few of theirs already, and, you know, they're getting played. I mean, look, we just talked about Michael Steele. I mean, we don't know if it was him in the club and all that stuff, but he's spending money all these different ways. The whole point is, I get some people that are very gullible. I can say 5 choice words, and they're all over it, and I've got hundreds of $1,000s in my pocket. Maybe he's going for that, but he's not going to get there. I mean, Michael Steele did it the right way.
Yeah, he's over the top. Manning's over the top. That's the problem. Okay. I knew there was a reason I didn't like Manning. I wonder if they're related. Anyway, one more about what he thinks about black people in general. This ought to be a doozy.
I was praying the other day, and I was asking the Lord, what is it about black men that have brought them to this point of extinction, where they cannot compete on a global scale? What is it about them? And God says they have no honor. Now, there's several things that we need to understand. And here's how God illuminated that fact to me. God says, what do you think would cause a man to go into his mother's pocketbook, take his mama's last money. He will not leave her token money to get on the train, to go to the job, to get more money, or go to the bank. What would cause a full-grown man to go in his mama's pocketbook and take her last money and shoot dope? What would cause a man to do that? Why would any man do that? Why? He will do it not because he's on drugs. That's the reason he will stay. But the reason why a man can go into his mother's pocketbook and take her last quarter and shoot dope with it is because he has no honor. Because even if you're racked by the pains of another fix, you want to get high, you got a need, and your body is suffering, honor will stop you from taking your mama's last money. Honor doesn't have honor. We got to restore honor back to black folk. They have no honor, no integrity. They're not honorable people.
Yeah, whereas white people never shoot dope. So, yeah, it's best to label all black people that way, Pastor Manning. Keep it classy. That'll really reach out to the community and convince them. I'm telling you, they can't take it no more. White people are tired of this. All this black shenanigans. Oh, man. All right, look, if you think that was fun, Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson, black conservative, who thinks blacks are immoral and lazy, is going to be in the studio in the next hour. It's an interesting day at the Young Turks. They both happen to fall on the same day for some reason, but it's going to be fascinating. Come right back for that, Young Turks.
Do it. Okay, I'ma swing it this way. I'ma swing it that way. It's Frankie Fergie. I'ma be here to stay. The 21st century till infinity. I'ma be.